You are.
There we go. Okay. Hello, hello, everyone. I'm here with Gary, our wonderful school steward. And today we're going to talk about craniosacral therapy. We have Cranial Sacral Unwinding 1 coming up this weekend in Arizona, next weekend in LA. The first day will be Friday the 9th, all online. That'll be Module A, followed by 2 days of in-person at Temescal Canyon. That'll be Module B. You can sign up for those separately. If you are going to take Module B, you have to take Module A first. There's more info on that online, and I will direct everyone to that in the comments afterwards. And then Gary's also teaching Craniosacral Unwinding 1 in New York the following weekend. So 3 weekends of the intro to craniosacral. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted to just sit down today and do, a little Q&A, and for anyone who hasn't taken it yet to really get an idea and a sense for what the work is. For everyone who does have contact with this and has experience with it, just to dive a little deep and kind of be in that energy today. So, yeah. So Gary, do you want to start and just, for anyone who doesn't really know what this work is, just explain in your own Gary world, what is craniosacral unwinding therapy?
I think it is technology for a new era in the world and in life. I think it's a mixture of practical uses of quantum physics and of course spirituality. It Cranial gives an adjustment to your, I always say this, to your soul.
Mm.
And it does that by working with the cranium, the spine, and the sacrum. And in the esoteric literature, the soul, the seat of the soul, is in the base of the brain. And the embodiment of that is through the spine and the chakras and the main channel, the central channel in life. So doing that work is like getting an adjustment to who you are. But the beautiful thing about it is that adjustment is bringing you back to yourself.
Yeah, it brings you into alignment
With who you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the most precious. It's the most precious thing I have, or that I care about, is like helping people, whether it's in a session or in a class or even just now. I think that people watching this will probably become more oriented to themselves by listening to what we're talking about.
Mm, how would you describe what this work feels like to receive it and to give it as the practitioner, to facilitate it?
Well, so one thing is that we always say you give a session, you get one while you're giving it. And maybe the original reason I got into this was that when I was doing it in the very beginning, I was like, wow, I just felt so good doing this that I was like, I like that job. But wait, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get the benefit of it while I'm doing it? That was like mind blowing. So what I think you feel is, and there's so much that I could say. I mean, it's really a big story, but the sensation is kind of like you start to feel like you're floating in your own body, in your own space,
Mm-hmm.
a sense of weightlessness. And that sense of weightlessness really is reflective of transcending of life a little bit, or transcending of even your body a bit. Your body starts to kind of go on, starts to become aligned with your energy as you become aware of your energy. And then your field starts to take its clue from your internal. And your very internal space is very carefree.
Mm.
It's not that concerned about the polarities of life a little bit. It's way more neutral.
Yeah.
So you start to feel more neutral, and like whatever pains you had before, or aches or vexations, they just kind of slip away. And you start to feel your neutral original essence. And that's an incredibly pleasant experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt when I first took the intro course, people had mentioned pieces of it to me before, um, and especially because this course is typically in LA. It's typically held at Temescal Canyon, and the ocean's right around the corner. I had a few people tell me before I took it, just go to the ocean during the lunch break and then come back. And for me, and I think a lot of other people feel this as well, there's something very oceanic about the feeling of this work.
Mm.
Kind of that flow state you were mentioning before that happens when you start the work.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, nothing else feels like that for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the same thing, by the way. Nothing else feels like that for me as well. But I love that you said that, because I often liken this process to the ocean. And it's, look, so we would say this thing like, we're all spiritual beings. We're all part of the step down of energy to the earth plane. We're an expression of the universe on the earth plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that expression is happening through a medium of water.
Mm.
So really we're water beings. Now, our very horizontal life is not so watery. It's actually very sharp and electrified and stimulating, and it's very polarized. So, and water's polarization makes cohesion and continuity, but our life is about fragmentation in a great sense. It's much more electric and fiery and dynamic. So for and I could tell you what I think, why this happens, but I think that cranial speaks the water language of the body.
Mm.
And as you do it, you come back to your water. In our bodies are we're water beings. We actually are water beings, and we just came out of the ocean a little bit. And we miss that ocean in our own body. And I think cranial restores the oceanic quality to the body.
Mm. Could you speak to what happens? So after a session, whether you're the facilitator, whether you're the person receiving, when you're returning to that alignment in yourself and that flow, that water state, what happens then when you re-enter into the world with that like friction, sharp, stimulating energy?
Well, what I usually tell people, so you're being restored and renewed to yourself, right? And so you kind of, when you're done off the table, and it's the same for the practitioner, like I feel like I've done sessions
Mm-hmm.
where we both found a little bit of enlightenment. They found enlightenment about themselves, and I found enlightenment in resonance with myself. Sometimes I feel like I'm just getting the benefit of the work in the field with the person. So after a session, you feel reoriented and restored. And what I say to people is avoid conflict, take care of yourself, go to the ocean just like that, or soak in a bathtub, like keep the sense of that fluidity going. And then I think what happens is the more you keep that going, the more your life will shift a little bit, so that instead of you being oriented around your life will become oriented around you.
Mm.
And if I couldn't say it much better, that's the heart precisely of what I feel happens.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And at the same time, it's just a simple thing that, the people found who started cranial, our ancestral cranial
Mm-hmm.
practitioners found, and they found it 10,000 years ago, or they found it thousands of years ago, or they found it in the last 200 years, or they found that when you listen, when you're receptive and feminine in relationship
Mm-hmm.
to the inner brain and the inner spine, or even if you just hold a head and you hold the sacrum or you hold feet, but you're listening to that very center line that we call the midline, that something phenomenal starts to happen, that energy starts to become more pervasive, and that, again, it's just so simple. People come back to themselves. And it starts a process in your life then. We call it unwinding. First, it's unwinding on the table. Then afterwards, it's your life unwinding around you. And the places where you were, let's say, confused about, or the places you had difficulty with, they unwind.
Mm-hmm.
And you come back to neutral in relationship to them. And then your life takes its cue from you, which I think, look, like, what were we meant to be here? It's a wonderful question. We go through so much stuff. I'm down with going through all the difficulties of life. And I'm also down with coming back to myself from those. And in our world, the main way that people come back to themselves is through, they don't really come back to themselves. They go back, most people go into disconnection. That disconnection is important because the world's insane a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you should disconnect from it, but then you should have a way to come back to yourself. So
Yeah.
this work does that. Qigong does it. Tai Chi does it. A lot of our traditions, they know that you need to come back to self, that society has stress.
Mm-hmm.
So then cranial, by far, the most simplest way to do it, to come back to yourself.
Yeah.
Every time, guaranteed.
And something Cranial has taught me so far in my journey with it is um, that to do the work itself is also really simple. It's taught me what it means to hold space for another person, what it means to be a facilitator, and that it's really just about listening. It's not about having to know all these things or having to have all of this expert knowledge, which is useful, but it's really about just showing up and listening. And I feel like the work guides you because you put yourself there and you allow it to ignite the process, and then you let it guide you.
I think that's perfect what you're saying. I feel like as much as I know, I realize, I think the truth is that nobody really knows.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. And great cranial practitioners, if they're in their good moment, I think they'll say they don't really know.
Yeah.
We don't know so much, and we think we're looking through a little pinhole and we think, oh, I can see everything.
Uh-huh.
Within the pinhole, you can, but within the greater field, we don't know.
Yeah.
So I love how you said that. That's the challenge that's an interesting thing as a practitioner. As you do this more, it teaches you how to be fluid. And I first learned that in martial arts. Like, I might have heard it from Bruce Lee originally, or his teacher, like, be like water.
Mm. Yeah.
Or I heard it from Lao Tzu. I think it was Lao Tzu, actually. Yeah. Because Lao Tzu would say that water goes with everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's not discriminating. It doesn't discriminate.
Mm.
And so learning to be like doing that, following and being with another person, then it does that in your life. I feel like the gift of doing this work is that my life has become, it feels seamless at times because of this work, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think most people would desire that state, to be able to say that their life feels seamless,
Yeah.
especially now.
I would say that's just my goal, like, to leave. I mean, really, what else we're being stripped away of all of our attachments to material and to, to the way we've been living or being here on the planet. All of that's being taken away right now. What do we want? And so, like what you just said, what does everybody want? They want to lead a good life. That's all. It's not about, oh, I need a. I think for most people these days, at least, I don't want
Yeah.
to talk for anybody, but I think everybody, the people I speak to, the clients, students, friends, they all just want to feel a sense of well-being and peace in their body and their field.
Yeah.
And what's, this moment for me is I've been doing this for, 40 years easily, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have these moments where I end up doing 3 of the same thing, like week after week after week.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that so many times in my life because I would travel to, wherever. We teach all over the world at this point, but I would travel to all those places and teach. And right now, I don't know how much more this will happen. It might change. I might not travel. I'm doing it right now just to change the energy, but I'll be in Arizona this weekend and next weekend here. And then the next one will be in New York. And so each one of those will progress. I will learn more about this work by teaching it like that. And I have over years learned so much by having these opportunities to go deep in the work and bring it. Because that's the beauty of this work also in teaching it. It's never the same class. It's always a new moment. It really, really is. It's not just, I know a lot of the competency is similar. It's always a certain competency, but the experience is incredibly different every time.
Yeah, and I think as a student you feel that.
Yeah.
I feel like from the very first cranial class I took, the information and what I experienced, I feel like that's still unfolding in my life. And I'm still like integrating whatever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
My life
feel the same way.
the first class.
I feel the same way. Seriously. I really do.
Yeah. I want to say for anyone who is watching, who is wondering if you haven't taken cranial yet, the answer to who is this class for, like I don't think it's just for someone who's interested in energy work, or who knows that they want to be an energetic facilitator. I feel strongly that this class is for anyone who wants to live seamlessly or to come back to themselves. Anyone who does any kind of facilitation. If you're a massage therapist and that's your jam, I think even having contact with this work and having an experience of it will just widen.
I have over the years trained everybody, and I would say at least half of the people who come to these classes, they're not practitioners. They're not trying to be it, but they're trying to find something for themselves. They're trying to move in their life where they got stuck. They're trying to open up energy around creative projects. They don't know. They wouldn't come to me and say, oh, I need to come back to myself. But it's generally going to be the same answer whether you're trying to heal your body, your life, your relations, whether you're trying to acquire new skills. Ultimately, there's some reason why you come to this work because you want to come back to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's like an underlying theme, because that's what I've seen happen. The greatest result I've seen is that people's lives change and their energy opens up where it wasn't open before, and they feel more seamless and more fluid, and whether they get their answers or not, their answers start to unfold and come to them.
Mm-hmm. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Do we have anyone listening in, or any questions or comments, maybe?
Well, there's nobody in here, but there might be,
on the.
yeah, let's see if I can take a look there. Taylor Brooks, loving it all. Christy said hi. Angelina Artemoff, yeah, okay. So there's, there's some engagements and some comments, but I don't really see anything. Facebook Live, yeah. 13 people with some engagements. But I don't see a lot of, it is what it is. I think that's okay. But let me say this. Let me just take a deeper breath or a deeper moment. It's a very, it's a really powerful time right now in our world. And I think actually that it's a time for all of us to ask this. We're at a great moment of asking this question about what's important to us. For everybody, I go back to the Hopi Elder prophecy that happened around the millennium. It's my favorite one. At the time I listened to it and I was like, wow. And they were just predicting this time that things were going to get more intense. And they said, don't worry about it. They said, go with it, but do your work. Be true to yourself. Find what's true and important and what makes you happy and what makes you well. And maybe what your way to contribute, or maybe, whatever that means to you, within your means even, right? And of course, we have this international and local schools that we're engaged with. Mm-hmm. We have to ask that question ourselves. And at the end of the day, when I ask that question, I say, this is what's most important to me. Just being able to either do a session or have a class with people to get them to become resourced in a way that brings healing into their body and their field and their lives, that then touches other people in their fields and their lives. That's still the answer that I had. Mm-hmm. It's still the same answer that I got when I came to the planet a little bit. I came to the party and that was the answer I got. And so people say, why are you still doing that? I said, well, I don't know. What else you got something else? What?
Yeah.
So I keep doing this and I keep being inspired by this work and our community around and through and out into the world with it. And I think that we make a difference by being this person and by doing this kind of thing in the world. So, and just this moment with you, Michelle, it's lovely to be with you.
Yeah.
Around this.
Me too.
I appreciate you and our work and our school and sharing this with everybody. I know this will go out and maybe, I think about this thing too, I'm just always trying to do what I do, and wherever it lands, however it goes, someone will hear this or be connected to it.
Yeah.
And they'll find us somewhere. Or this will be enough. You'll just have listened to this, and this will be enough for you. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Yes, and thank you. Great to be with you.
Yeah.
So I could probably we could let it be there, right? That's good enough.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. Thank you if you're here. I wish you well. We love you all.
Yeah, if you're watching this later, I'll put this up on Instagram and all of our Facebook pages.
Yay.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to put information in the comments linking to the site where you can sign up if you're interested or get more information, all that good stuff. So
thank you so much.
Yeah.
All
Hope
right.
everyone's having a good day.
Yeah, you all have a great day wherever you are. That's the best way to change the world. Have a great day.
And drink some water.
Drink some water. Come on. All right.
Okay. Thanks, Gary.
Take care.
Bye.